So now let's install the Mollom Drupal module. So I'm doing a quick search and I'll pull up the top link, which is project/Mollom, and I'll copy the tarball for the 8.1.1 version. I'll go back to our site and let's install new module. Let's enable it. Here you go. And we'll click install. And now let's click the Mollom settings page link. So here's our public key and private key. Let's go back to our Mollom settings and we'll copy the public key here, paste it in. We'll copy the private key and paste it in. A couple quick settings. When Mollom service is unavailable, accept all form submissions or block all form submissions. So basically when all of our soldiers are at a party, do we want the drawbridge up or do we want it down? For now, let's accept them. Later, if it becomes a problem, we can click block all form submissions. Our expected language is English, so we'll select English. We'll leave the checkbox to show a link to Mollom's privacy policy, and we'll enable testing mode in just a moment. Let's click Save Configuration. All right, so just like Honeypot and CAPTCHA, we need to set this up for specific forms. So I'm going to click on Forms, and let's add a form. We'll select our user contact form, and we have a couple of different options for protection mode. We can choose text analysis, which will take a look at the content and decide whether the user should be seeing a CAPTCHA or not, or we can choose just to use a CAPTCHA. To make sure that this is working, I'm going to select CAPTCHA only, and then we'll come back and switch it to text analysis. Let's click Create Protected Mollom Form. Now let's go back to our form and refresh. So now next to the reCAPTCHA, we're seeing the Mollom CAPTCHA as well. Now let's turn on text analysis and test it out a little bit. So for this form, I'm going to click Edit. I'm going to switch it to text analysis. It gives us some additional options. We can look for profanity in addition to spam. We can set which text fields to analyze. We'll leave both subject and message checked. We can be more aggressive about spam detection. We can say that they're going to be more likely classified as spam or less likely, but we'll leave it normal. When text analysis is unsure, we're showing a CAPTCHA instead of accepting the post. And when it identifies the content as spam, it's going to discard the post. But we can also retain it and leave it unpublished for manual moderation. So let's leave those and click Update. And now, if we want to test how the text analysis is working, we can turn on Mollom test mode. So I'm going to go back to Settings and scroll down to the bottom and click Enable Testing Mode. So it says that we can submit ham, unsure, or spam in the text, and that will trigger one of those statuses for the content. Let's click Save Configuration. Let's go back to the content, and I'm going to refresh it. I'm going to submit spam for the subject and spam for the message. We have to fill out this CAPTCHA here. And then let's send the message. So we get this error. I suspect it has something to do with having two different CAPTCHAs enabled. So let's go back to our site and disable the CAPTCHA for our form. So I'm going to use Coffee to go to our CAPTCHA settings. And I'll go to our CAPTCHA points here, and I'm going to disable our point for the personal contact form. Now I'm going to go back to the incognito page, and I'll refresh the form. We'll put spam in here, and click Send Message. Okay, it says your submission has triggered the spam filter and will not be accepted. So it looks like it's working. If we want to make this completely transparent, we might want to hide this Mollom privacy policy link. So I'm going to go back to the settings for Mollom. And I'm going to uncheck the show a link to Mollom's privacy policy. And also, I'll disable testing mode. Let's go back to the site and refresh. And now let's try putting spam in as a subject and the message and see what happens. So it's not going to trigger it as spam because we don't have testing mode on, but it is saying that this looks a little suspicious, so please verify this content with a CAPTCHA.